Good morning. We are going to start today and basically focus on Halacha and Perokim, Hilchos Malveh Veloveh, Halacha Aleph and Halacha Beis. And that is the din of Ribis Lenachri. So let's read the Rambam and Halacha Aleph and Beis and discuss the topic, what goes on over here. Rambam's Shitta starts off with an Akum v'Ger Teshav, both an Akum and a Ger Teshav. Lovin mehen umalvin oison beribus. You can borrow from them, and you can also lend them ribus. Shenema leisashich lachicha. You should not give ribus to your brother. Lachicha also l'shar olam muta. And then he writes, mitzvahs asay, it's a mitzvah, lahashich la'akum, to give ribus to an akum. Shnema la'nochri sashich, the mitzvah. Yashua lamdu, shzu mitzvah asay. He adds, line, zehu din Torah. This is a din Torah. However, Halacha Beis, he writes, that Osher Chachamim, she show Malvus Akum Ribis, because it's an element of Dechai, whatever you need to live. And the reason is God's Hashem Yilmid Ma'isa. We don't want you to learn from him, but you should go see him. You can be too much involved with him, you're going to learn from him. Then he says, if it is not going to be a relationship type of Ribis, it's mutter and a Talmud Chacham that we can trust, is all mutter. Just to add the Radvaz, Xaviad, Chaim, and Yeridea, Chelik Ches, Simon Kuf Ches is probably mainly in Yeridea, but he writes that our custom is to do it, to be Malveh Ribis, because we have nothing to worry about. We don't interact and we don't have a shayla. And then he writes, nowadays it's all Kindei Chayenu. It's an important part of our life. So we don't have much of a choice, and he therefore requires that we do it. Okay. So basically, in a review, the Rambam holds it's a mitzvah asay, and to lend ribus, and under certain circumstances we should refrain. Now, I want to read the Sefer Mitzvahs. Although you can't be medayik in words of the Sefer Mitzvah, but the gist of it is you can definitely get. And the reason I say that because we know that the Sefer Mitzvahs was not written in Hebrew, it was written in Arabic, so it's harder to focus on every word. But let's listen to the concept. The mitzvah kuf tzadik has ribus min hagoy v'oz nilvalei. First, you ask for ribus, then you lend them money. And here is the line: you shouldn't be helping him. You got to make damage. You're not allowed to, but don't. And he says the pshat is a mitzvah, not a rishus. Okay. Just a short entry into the Gemara, but Metzia, Daf Ayin Amid Beis, Ayin Aleph Amid Aleph. The Gemara says, Mar b'hoinei b'neshech v'sarvis l'cheinen dalam yikam. Tzenu mai l'cheinen dalam. The Gemara explains, the Gemara there seems to say, and the Gemara goes on to discussion. It says leisashich, lachicha, loisashich. So the Gemara says lav all of the esav loisaseh. So it seems that the focus is that the Torah is trying that you're over and I say if you do give to a Jew with ribus. And then the Gemara talks about this. He says, "Love and Malveh some Ribis by a Nachri," and he says the Chayav. The Gemara seems to not support so much this idea of being Malveh Nachri Ribis, and the Gemara explains why. Okay, this is the Rambam Shita. Now, there's another Gemara which we'll talk later, which seems to even more so denigrate lending Ribis to a guy, but we'll leave that for later. The Ramban in Hasagas Ramban Sefer Mitzvah Shiur Shvav. He takes issue with the Rambam on this mitzvah and says that it's no such a mitzvah. The it's only a Isser Asay. It's an Isra say, and that the mitzvah is the yid. Yeah, he's supposed to lend either the Ribis and that's it. It's a lot. That's all it is. It's not a mitzvah. It's a heter, and he brings rayas from the Gemara because the Gemara uses a lot. The Gemara asks a question. It says in the pasuk. The Gemara question says in the pasuk. Nochi Sashach. The Gemara says that so it was a Sashach. You should. So the Gemara says no. You don't have to. Mitzvah. You can't make it into a mitzvah. And the Ichi is lavuke achicha because you're able to ask him like says. So he says it's only an essa on a Jew that you have to lend them without Ribis, and that's what we're talking about. And then by a guy to the head, and now he's the head. Okay, now the chinuch, who usually follows the Rambam's approach, as we know, is a very nice understanding of this issue. Shar shei mitzvah. She'ein roi lanu ligmoil chesed z'losia la'om yoidei hakel va'ivdim lefanav. Kindness should be shown to those who serve God. And b'himana chesed mishar b'nei adam v'nasa oisei le'elu nivch. And you'll only do it to if you don't do it to others, you only do it to those who serve God. Nivchan ki ikar ava chem la'leim mitzad zikim b'teres l'kimizban. Why do you need to do for a Jew? Because he follows what the Eibishter wants. So therefore, there's a schar b'mediyas hachesed from those who don't follow the Eibishter. And then he said, and somebody who gives, it's in also halachically interesting the way he presents it, as a gift, not because he feels it's a good business deal, he's going to benefit in the future, or shalom bittul esezeh. And he either, if he does it as chesed, not because of Darkei Shalom or revach that he will make from it in a future deal, that is then you're Eivadas, of lending with Ribis. Because you're helping him. And he brings that the Ramban does not hold of this as a mitzvah, and he says, the Gemara seems to the Gemara in Bambatzia that we led. Says that, it sounds like the Ramban that it's not a mitzvah. The Gemara's focus is it's an essay for the Jew, but then he writes the lashayness of these people. V'im kol ze derech hamelech melech leinita yomen usmail mechashbeinei. We're not moving away from the way of the Rambam's way is the Derech HaMelech. Okay, Minchas Chinuch explains that the Chinuch and the Rambam hold you don't have to go lend to a Nachri. But if you do, you got to take Ribis. These are like tzitzis. You don't have to wear dollar canvas, but if you wear, you got to put on tzitzis. Same thing with lending. And I like, you have to look for opportunities to lend Ribis to a guy. Okay, so now the Gemara seemed to ask, how can we say it's usher, right? Mesaveh, the Gemara asked, we said the Gemara in Bamitzia, Loving Mehem Malveh, the Gemara asked, how could you lend to them if it says a pasuk? How can you say it's usher to lend, right? How can you ask it to lend? That was the Gemara. So Taisus explains, my Perlstein, my Kra, Allah also element Rabbanon. As the Rambam says, why don't we allow you to lend? Because we want you to learn from them. So he says, no. The Gemara's question is, since it says La Nochri Sashir, the Chachamim shouldn't have forbidden it. It doesn't possibly you got to do it. It's a mitzvah say. Why would Rabbanon ask for mitzvah say? Hector, it's raw. Doesn't make sense. There are many things that the Torah says is a mitzvah. Also, the Chachamim last is young with Torah, and the Chachamim did answer it. Says many things is mutter. And bring examples. So the Sefer Marganisa Tova on the Sefer HaMitzvahs, he writes that b'sheval taisa you can do it. Lulav, shefer. We said no lulav, no shefer. Sheval taisa is different. And the Gemara says that sheval taisa you can be aikits and peish Gemaras. So he says could be. I want because this is very important, cause that when you Malveh belay Ribis, you over become masay by being Malveh. Says no. You're Malveh, you give the loan, and then later you don't get Ribis. That's the Sheval Taisa. You didn't get the Ribis. And so that's basically the question that it's for us. I mean, that's what he's saying. It doesn't. All right, I want to focus on this issue. How the Rambam perhaps sees this. Let's look at the words of the Rambam. The Rambam starts off, Akum, Teisha, Lovin Mehen, or Malveh Ribis. Not a mitzvah yet. This is only a mitzvah. I say lahashir la'akum. Why the change of expression? Malvin, lovin, suddenly lahashir. I say lahalvas beribis la'akum. Suddenly he switches to the lashon of the pasuk. And if he wants to say lashon, he just could have said the same thing. You have a nation, love a man. Or whatever you can and then he writes they don't use the word lahashich, goes right back to Malveh. And then we saw what he writes in Sefer HaMitzvahs, that he says but then he writes, he doesn't write lahash. And as we said, then interesting. We said the interesting losh in the Sefer HaMitzvahs. Shetzivanu levakesh ribis v'nagoy v'oz nilveloi. Lahalvus nachim ribis. Shetzivanu lahalvus. That's what he writes in the Minyan HaMitzvahs. Levakesh v'oz nilveloi. Until not help him, not this, but it was damage. He can be Malveh Ribis. Chinuch, we said goes in the form of the Rambam, adds another line. He says, Levakesh Ribis Kish and Nilva. And then he adds Nilva Lehem B'lei Ribis. And that doesn't say in the Rambam. And then what is this order? Levakesh and then Nilva. What's the seder over here? Well, basically, that's what we're asking. Yeah. So here's where what I wanted to say. Now, it's a bit of a chiddush, but I think it'll answer Tosfos, and I think the Rambam may agree with Tosfos, and that will help us a lot. The Rambam comes to stress that the mitzvah is that the halva, the ma'isa halva, and that's why he writes levakesh ribis va'oz nilva. That means you have to have ribis in place in order even to start the halva. Now listen to this, and that's why the chinuch adds the words kisha nilva. In other words, the halva has to have ribis in it. Before, you can't just say, "Okay, I'll lend you this," and then, but you have to give me ribis. No, you have to set up the ribis, and then you can get to the halva. The ma'isa halva needs ribis, and that's why he's stressing again. But ribis, the halva has to have ribis, and that's what the Rambam says. The mitzvah is to cause damage. The halva has to cause damage. I'm doing ma'isa that causes damage. If you lend to a guy and you don't cause that damage by not taking ribis, you are being mevatel dasei. Now, what about the Surah? But let's say I end up not taking the ribis. I gave the halva. The taking of the ribis is a matter in the halva. If you don't end up taking the ma'isa halva becomes this. And that's why he switches from Malveh to lahashir. Your act of halva has to be a ma'isa lahashir. That's why he switches to the lashon haposuk. And as Rashi explains, lahashir is like a neshichas nochash, he writes. It's like a snake bite that causes much damage. That's what Ribis is. And that's why the Rambam switches to the lashon lahashir. And that takes away what the Magenisa Tov is saying. It's not the ma'isa. It's only a lack of ma'isa. It's a sheval taisa. You didn't do anything. You didn't take the ribis. No, you don't take the ribis. The ma'isa is also. The halva is also unless you take ribis, which takes away the iser and is mekayim the mitzvah. So in other words, if a person gives the halva and the guy has to give ribis later, and it doesn't end up getting the ribis. Okay, if the guy doesn't give it because he can't get it from him, that's not your fault. But if you somehow take away the ribis, you've been that ma'isa halva is a ma'isa iser. Not like wearing a beged, where the beged is not wearing the beged is not the ma'isa. It's wearing the beged and not putting on tzitzis. It's the ma'isa of. I mean, I'm sorry. If you don't put on the beged. Here, the halva is osur. It's not the ribis is a matter in the halva. That would explain Tosfos. Now, since it says lanochi sashir, Nachman can't answer. The Rambam does bring that iser. The Tosfos says it's not osur really. It's only shlo yilmid b'ma'isa. We don't want you to do it. And we'll see soon what that means. That's not really awesome. We don't want you to do it. But that doesn't take away, as we'll see in a few months. And also it's mutter under, as the Rabbi says, it's mutter. Rabbi has a truth, as we said, it's mutter in his area because nobody interacts with the game anyway and all that. So basically, the Nekuda Hadavar, it's one point that the Rambam holds it's a mitzvah, and he's learning Pshat in the Gemara that since it's a mitzvah, you cannot aser it. Why? Because you'll be over bekum vasei. You'll be over bekum vasei. So what's that Pshat in the Gemara there? So let's take another piece of Gemara. More Makis of Chavdalid says, David HaMelech speaks about the greatness of a people and a tzaddik, of a holy Jew, of a good Jew, is that he didn't even give his money with neshach. He wasn't even his reise. That's Kiddush. Zok the Gemara, no, I feel the Ribis that he didn't give his money Ribis Evichov. So there's a Sefer Yad David over there, Marcus says, "Mikam action al Rambam." That says a mitzvah seila halvus anochri. Rag Rabbanos true. So what does it mean? He can't say that that's what the pasuk is referring to. The Isra Rabbana. It wasn't shaykh in those times. In other words, if David is speaking that it's a mile, there must be. How can you do that? The Torah's mitzvah is a chasar. So he says, we saw the Minchas Chinuch. There's no mitzvah to go lend. The mitzvah is that if you're going to lend, you got to take ribis. And if you lend b'chinam, it's awesome. But don't go lend. David says, I wasn't lending. I avoided lending. Now, why did he avoid? It's a mitzvah. Why since when do you avoid mitzvahs? But what, based on what we said, could be shot like this. Because since when you do the ma'isal vov, you're doing an isser. But through the getting the ribis, you're freyim my oiker the isser. David says, I don't want to get involved in that. What happens if something changes? I'm touching an isser. That's why he stayed away from it. But not because there's something wrong with a mitzvah. He was afraid of what can happen. And that's what he's saying. The mile of not lending, don't lend. And that's shot. What the Rambam says, also halvus, don't lend. One that can dechaya. But catch, I mean, you have to stay away from them. There's room for such a svara to explain the sugya and seid gesund und stark. Tzlocher Rabbi. Flogger.